In this piano tutorial, we will be learning the song Worthy by Elevation Worship, and this song is in the key of E flat major. And what I want to do in this tutorial is focus more on the chorus of the song and the vamp of the song, right? And I really want to get deep into different possibilities that we can do with the chords while accounting for the melody of the song. So let's start off with the basic chords of the song, and then I'll show you my approach to the song using some gospel or jazz chord substitutions and passing chords. Okay, so we start off on the 3, right? For worthy is your name, right? We start on the 3, which I actually voice as a 1/3, right? The simple way. Worthy is your name. You go to the 4, Jesus. Then the 5, you deserve the praise. Back to the 3, worthy is your name. And then the 6, right? Once again, worthy is your name. 4, Jesus, you deserve the praise. Worthy is your name. And back to the 6, okay? So like always, I like focusing on the melody of the song, right? It's a good thing to be able to play the melody, because by knowing the melody, you're able to form your chords or your harmony around that melody, right? And the good thing about this song is that all of the melody notes are actually within the E flat major scale, right? So we don't really get out of that scale in regards to the melody. So let's start off with that first section of this chorus, right? Da, 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 da. Right? We're leading into the 4. Worthy is your name. Right? So something that I like to do is start off with the 1, sort of as an anchor point to use to get to the 3, which is my passing chord, to finally arrive at the 4, right? So we start off at the 1, which is E flat major. Da, da, da. Then we land on that 3, right? So for this 1 chord, something that I like doing with my left hand to fill out the chord a bit more is playing those 1, 5, and 10th voicing, right? The 10th is simply a 3 up an octave, right? And as you can see, my hands aren't big enough to actually reach the entire chord, so I use the sustain pedal to sort of play it as an arpeggio. You see? Worthy is. And then we land on this 3 chord, which I'm voicing as a 1/3, but specifically as a sus2/3, right? If you pay attention to this chord right here, or this voicing, it's actually a drop 2 voicing when we take this E flat major add 2 and we take the G and drop it down an octave, right? We get this voicing, and I simply double up these 3 notes up an octave. So worthy is your name. Now for the 4 chord, I'm simply playing an A flat major add 2. Jesus. Now the next chord is actually a 5 chord, but I also like including a filler chord in between, right? A passing chord, if you may, but still following the melody. So it goes Jesus. So what I do is use the 6th chord, which actually includes this G, right? This is the 6th chord in E flat. So I'm using this chord as a passing chord to get to the 5 chord. So worthy is your name, G. But I'm not simply playing a regular C minor. I'm actually switching up some of the notes to give me this very beautiful voicing, right? You can hear that cluster, the way it fills in the harmony. So what I'm thinking about over here is actually sort of a shell voicing for the 4 chord, right? A flat. I'm inverting it into first inversion, but I'm omitting this E flat, right? Since I have it up here. And then my right hand is simply playing in a 1 chord, right? In second inversion, or an E flat. So that gives me that 1/6 or 1/4, if you may, right? In first inversion. But to give it slightly more dissonance, I double up on the G down here, right? That gives me that A flat major 9 over C. So da 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 da. Now for the 5 chord, again, I've taught this in other lessons as well. This 5 chord, how do you say this? I refer to it as a CCM 5 chord, right? It's sort of a combination of a regular 5 chord with a sus4, and it gives us that cluster, which sounds very good in this context. Now the next chord is going to be a 3 chord, right? But we can also include a passing chord to get to that 3. And the passing chord that I want to use in this case is going to be, let's do it up here, right? Right, it's a little bit odd. You're probably wondering, where do these notes come from? But all I'm thinking about here is of a 5 chord, but with a dominant function, right? Because if you think about the 3, which is the next chord, the 3 is technically being played as a 1 with a 3 on the bass, right? An E flat over G. So we're using this 5 chord sort of as a dominant going to the tonic, right? So let's say we would play it in this manner. It would sound something like this, right? Jesus, you deserve the praise, right? It still works, technically. Worthy is your name, but the way that I'm voicing it is in a way that it forms a bridge to get to the 3. So I'm going to do this, right? Right, so I played this chord right here, which again I said is serving as a dominant function for the B flat or the 5, right? I'm omitting this 1 and playing the dominant 7th down here to land finally on the 1/3, right? And you can actually hear it like a 5 to the 1, right? So we're playing a 5 technically to the 3, okay? So right, so we land on that 3, which we did before, and the next chord is a 6. So from the 3 to the 6, again, we have other options. For example, we did this chord, right? I messed that up. Sorry. We can simply play a 7, right, as a passing chord to get to the 6 from the 3. And for the 6th chord, a very nice voicing that I like using is basically clustering up the 7 and the 1, right? D and B, playing it a little bit higher up in the chord to give me that add to type of voicing, okay? Right, let's go over that section that I just did right now. Instead of going straight to the 3, I basically did some inner movements, right? I did a grace note from E flat to F, then to D, and then finally landing back on the E flat. And you hear that a lot in different gospel type of songs. Right? If you want, you can sort of force a minor 5 or a dominant 1 type of voicing on the 1, right? Worthy is your name, right? The way that I'm voicing it again is in a way that the melody is still basically outstanding, right? You can hear it above every other note in the chord, right? It's up here. That's another option that we have to get to the 6. We can do this chord right here, which is technically a 3, right? Voiced as a diminished chord. Right, we're playing this B as a passing chord, and the voicing that I'm using specifically, right? We're playing this B diminished 7th, but I'm voicing it in this way to get to the 6. So once again. Bunch of different possibilities that we can do in this section. So let's move on into the part that says right. In this section of the song, again, it's a 4-chord progression. We start off on the 4. The basic chords are da 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 4, da 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 da, then the 2, da da da, da da da, then the 6, name above all, and then the 5. Da, 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 right, so some of the possibilities, some of the chords that we can play in this section of the song, right? We start off on the 4. Again, using the same concepts of playing this 1, 5, 10, voicing for the left hand. And since this section of the song is very melody heavy, right? The melody is playing in sort of either 16 notes or 8th notes, right? It's a little bit quick. Sometimes you might not want to include every single melody within your chords. Just sort of fill in the harmony with your chords, right? So we can do something like this. Right? I went to the 2, which is an F minor 11 in this case. Then the 6. Then the 5, right? I'm voicing it as a sus4. Da, 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 right? Again, even though we're not playing every single melody note, we can voice the chord so that right when it lands on the chord, for example, on this 6, we're landing in this voicing where F is actually the current melody within the song, right? Da, 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 da. And I'm voicing it as a C minor 11, basically, right? Which is an easier way of thinking of B flat over C minor. So da, 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 da. Now this chord, right? If we play the melody, da, 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 it lands on a C, but the chord is a B flat. So one of my thought processes, right, when forming a chord to match with the melody is thinking, if I'm playing the C and the chord is a B flat, what chord does that form? And it gives us an add 2. So it's an easier way of visualizing the chord, but at the same time, it gives us the possibility to be able to invert this chord in a different way while still maintaining this C up top, right? Something like this, right? I'm only playing those 4 notes within the chord: B, C, D, and F, right? I'm just including it in various different locations within the chord, right? So da 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 da, right? Obviously it wouldn't fit in this song if we include this altered chord. It's a little bit too gospely, but it's an option that we have. Let's say if another song was playing a similar progression, right? So what I did there was start on the 4, and then I used the 6 as a passing chord to get to the 2. Da, da, da. You can do the same with the 3 to get to the 6. And then the 5. Da, 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 right? That passing chord again is still a 3. All I did was change the alterations in this case, right? In this case I had a sharp 9, sharp 5, and then I altered it differently by playing a flat 9, flat 5, right? And a short lesson within this lesson, right? To be able to get this chord, all I'm doing is actually playing 2 chords, right? Most of the chords that I play are a combination of 2 different chords. All I'm doing here is playing a G dominant, right? I included the 3rd up here. All right, we get that G7. And to make it an alteration, this is actually known as a upper chord structure, right? Or upper structure triad, where we play, in this case, an E flat major, and that gives us a sharp 9. If we do the same chord, G7, and in this case we play a D flat major, that gives us a flat 9, flat 5, right? A short lesson, quick tip for you guys that want to learn how to form these altered chords, right? So that's a way to get to the 6. You're the name above all names. Right, so those are the only 2 sections that I wanted to focus on in this tutorial. So what I'm going to do now is play those 2 sections without any interruptions. I'll try to include different movements here and there, not necessarily to use them within the song, but as a way for you guys to take away from these chords and be able to apply it to other songs as well, right? And I'll leave a MIDI file in the description for this section of the video.